Yoko Ono is a multimedia artist working with performance art being her most prominent form of art. Yoko Ono partook in many art movements including the conceptual, avant-garde, fluxus, and contemporary arts movement. Yoko Ono was born on February 18, 1933 in Tokyo, Japan to Isoko and Isoko Ono. During her childhood, Yoko and her family moved back and forth between the United States and Japan frequently. Ono soon after being born moved to Sacramento, California with her family as her father had work there. Not many years later, Ono moved back to Japan in 1937. While in Tokyo, Yoko started attending the Piers School. Her family moved back to the US for a year in 1940, but returned by 1941. At the age of 12, Yoko Ono lived in Japan to enjoy atomic bombing during World War II. 6 years later, Yoko and her family moved back to the United States to live in Scarsdale, New York, where she went to Sarah Lawrence College. Ono didn't want to go to college, however she wanted to be an artist. Ono started out her art journey with poetry. Many people did not enjoy Ono's work as it was considered radical. This was until she met Anthony Cox, her second husband, who she would have her first child with. Anthony helped organize events for Ono to showcase her talent. In the early 1960s, Ono started working with mainly performance art. Performance art was a major turning point for Ono as they would end up being her most famous type of work. Ono's art was notorious for being different and radical. A way Ono was original was she invited members of the audience to interact with her artwork. Her most famous example of audience interaction was Ono's cut piece, where she had members of the audience come up on stage and cut off pieces of her clothes. Cut piece was Ono's way of expressing how materialism was pointless. Ono had many other pieces where she used audience participation, such as bag piece, where two people were put into a big bag nobody could see into. Painting to hammer a nail, where people would put a nail into a canvas-covered wood panel, and finally, play it by trust, where there was a fully white chess set and you had to try and play chess. These are just a few of Ono's most popular instructional pieces. Yoko Ono also worked on other projects, such as creating music with her band and husband at the time, John Lennon, called the Plastic Ono Band, with songs where she was featured screaming and singing with instrumentals behind her. Ono also wrote a book called Grapefruit. Grapefruit had instructional pieces that told you to physically do or imagine the instructions on the page. One example is Earth piece, which instructed you to listen to the sound of the earth turning. Yoko's book inspired her then-husband John Lennon to write a song that would become wildly popular. It was Imagine, which is still well known to this day. Yoko Ono was quite the original character who didn't care if she got judged for screaming as a form of music or getting her clothes cut off to prove a point. Yoko Ono is such a fascinating person, and her art is just as much so.